Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on Giant Radio. You might be listening to this on Giant TV. Really excited to have my guest, Joan Sills, who's a Vistage CEO chair in the San Francisco Bay Area. Joan, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Okay, great. Well, I was very lucky that about the first 15 years out of college for me, I was with Marriott, which was a great foundation. I learned about culture, and there was a great culture there. I learned about accountability, consistent programs, one-to-one coaching. Now, when I was with Marriott, they had 70 hotels, not 7,000 hotels. So it was very different. I remember
Right.
the day that Bill Marriott came up to me personally and said, "Joan, so nice to meet you. Thanks for doing such a great job." So that's what the culture was like at the time. Then quite a bit after that, I've run and grown 4 different companies, different industries, different sizes.
Right.
And 2 of them I grew through change and then we sold. And one was in Silicon Valley, a technology services company, which we sold and combined 8 different brands across the country, 8 different companies under one brand. And during a challenging time in Silicon Valley. Okay, so about 7 years ago, I found Vistage, which I had never heard of, and I'd been a CEO 4 times. And it's an organization, it's an international organization, and we work with, each individual has their own business under the Vistage umbrella. And so I work with 14 CEOs or owners of companies in the Bay Area. We meet a full day every month, and then I meet with them in a coaching session one time during the month. But the real intent is to facilitate helping peers. So one of my biggest roles is to facilitate peers really helping peers in a confidential setting, in a safe setting where they can talk about anything and things they can't talk about anywhere else. It is. So about 7 times a year, we have a speaker for 2 or 3 hours of it, a workshop. But the rest of that day, and on the days that we don't have a speaker, it's really a time where people bring issues and opportunities for us to, take a look at. And we have a very systematic process. And the biggest thing you're doing is asking the group, how do I do something? How do I? And they ask questions so that they fully understand what your challenge is. And 80% of the time, the challenge that you put up there to begin with ends up not being the challenge you really want to fix.
Right.
Because once you've had conversations and you've had some light bulb moments, people have asked you things, you realize that's not going to really give you what you want. Right. We also have what we call a tiger team. So if somebody's having a particular challenge, a particularly tough challenge, we'll put together 3 or 4 folks from the group that have, skills that might be helpful to take a look at that company. They'll go in, interview the employees, take a look at financials, rip things apart to see what the real, what's going on here. And so those 3 people present to the group and to the CEO of that company what they found. But 3 of my companies, they sold their companies and moved on. So we have the opportunity now to bring in and kind of freshen up some of the people that have been around and add some different industries. So it always has to be a non-competing business.
Right.
We wouldn't have 2 insurance companies. We wouldn't have 2 marketing or advertising companies, because you want to be able to be completely honest and open about your financials, about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so you never want competing businesses or people well, because if there's anything that would stop you from saying something you want to say, that person doesn't belong in this particular group. We can find a group they fit in. That's fine. There's probably 60 Vistage groups in the greater Bay Area. So, we can find the right group. But so it always has to be non-competing. For us, our groups range from 5 million to 350 million. So somewhere in there, more in that 25 million range. You really need to have at least 20 to 25 employees, because we talk a lot about, getting to that point in a company where you can't touch everybody all the time anymore. You can't spread your culture and what's important by having direct contact. Once you get past 6 or 7 million in revenue, very often that's when people fail, because you have to manage through people. And that's
Right.
a new skill at that point. So we talk a lot about that. So we like businesses to come in that have some complexity of understanding you have to manage through other businesses. And then I interview them, and very often I'll have them talk to 2 or 3 of our current members, and then we'll see if we think it's a good fit. To be honest, we have a, maybe I shouldn't say this, we have a no asshole rule. And the truth of the matter is, because you're with you're with these people a lot. I mean, you meet
Right.
every month for a full day from 8:30 to 4:30.
Right.
You communicate a lot, you help each other, you open up a lot. People bring personal issues in addition to business issues, because personal affect business and business affects personal.
Right. Right.
So it's really making sure that we don't have to be best friends, but that you have a respect for each other, that you will keep what anybody says is confidential, and your whole agenda is to help everybody else in the room.
Absolutely. Love it. Joan, sounds like you got an incredible group there. Thanks for coming on. I'd like to stay connected and hear about the growth of your group there. So really appreciate it. And thanks for anybody who's watching this.
Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate the time.